It's funny. A recent study found that people are actually happier when they're really in the moment, even if they're just doing boring, everyday tasks, compared to when their minds are off wandering somewhere else. But how often do we actually feel that way? How often does your day feel more like a checklist to get through, rather than a life you're truly experiencing? What if that could all change, starting right now? Let's be real. For so many of us, the daily grind feels like a grind. It's this never-ending loop of to-do lists, phone pings, and responsibilities. We wake up, scramble through our mornings, power through work, tackle chores, and collapse at the end of the day, only to hit repeat. And somewhere in all that, happiness became this huge, far-off thing. A destination we'll finally get to after the next big project, after the kids are older, after we magically have more time. It's always later, isn't it? A later that never seems to arrive. But this constant chasing, this habit of putting joy on the back burner, it takes a toll. We start to feel drained, stressed, like we're just going through the motions. Irritable, unfulfilled, running on empty. Burnout starts to feel familiar. We begin to wonder, is this really it? Are we just supposed to endure life instead of enjoying it? Are those little flashes of peace, or a genuine smile, just rare treats in a life mostly lived on autopilot? No wonder so many of us feel overwhelmed. We're swamped by choices, buried under pressure, and craving something simpler, something real. Look, feeling like this doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It's not a personal failing. It's a completely natural response to the fast-paced world we live in. We've been wired to chase big wins, to look for happiness in grand gestures or massive life changes. But what if the real secret to happiness isn't waiting in the future? What if it's already here, woven into your everyday life? What if the routines you grumble through could actually become your greatest source of joy? It sounds too simple, right? Here's the truth. Science and a growing shift toward mindful living both show that transforming your daily grind into a source of happiness is not only possible, it's surprisingly easy. It's about shifting your perspective, slowing down, and learning how to find the extraordinary in the ordinary. And no, this isn't about adding more to your already packed schedule. It's about changing how you show up for what you're already doing. The illusion of later, why we miss joy now. We're surrounded by a culture that's all about big dreams, big wins, big moments. And hey, there's nothing wrong with being ambitious, but when we're always focused on the next huge thing, we can accidentally start to devalue the small, the everyday, the right now. We tumble right into that I'll be happy when trap. I'll be happy when I get that promotion. I'll be happy when I finally buy a house. I'll be happy when I go on that amazing vacation. Suddenly, happiness isn't just a feeling, it's a reward we get later if we're lucky. Living like this is kind of like walking through life with blinders on, always staring at some distant horizon while totally missing the beautiful wildflowers blooming right at our feet. We get so fixated on the destination that the journey itself just becomes a blur. Those daily tasks, the routines, they start to feel like annoying hurdles, things we have to do to get to the real happiness. That morning coffee, we gulp it down while doom-scrolling emails. The commute, spent stressing about the day. Chores rush through with a sigh. We're physically there, sure, but our minds are a million miles away. And it's interesting, because studies actually show that people are happier when their minds aren't wandering. Even when they're doing something pretty mundane, the truth is, life is mostly made up of these so-called ordinary moments. If we're constantly waiting for the big, rare events to feel joy, we're basically missing out on most of our lives. There's this growing idea of finding microjoy, which is all about finding delight in life's tiniest moments to help balance out all the serious stuff. This isn't about ditching your goals, but about realizing that the path to those goals can, and totally should, be sprinkled with its own unique bits of happiness. This is where slowing down becomes a bit of a game changer. In a world that's always yelling faster, faster, choosing to consciously slow down can feel almost rebellious, can't it? But slowing down isn't about being lazy or unproductive, it's about being present. It's about giving ourselves the breathing room to actually experience our lives instead of just rushing through them. Think about it, it's the difference between just swallowing your food and actually savoring every single bite, or between merely hearing music and really listening to all its layers. When we slow down, we create chances to notice, to appreciate, to feel. There's a Japanese concept called ikigai, which which is all about living a life worth living by finding joy in everyday things and being in the moment. And that really nails it. This kind of shift doesn't mean you have to blow up your whole life. It starts with a simple but pretty profound change in perspective. What if the routines you already have aren't roadblocks, but opportunities? Seriously, think about it. Your morning ritual, your commute, your meal times, how you wind down at night. These are the regular beats of your day, things you do over and over. Right now, they might feel a bit blah, a bit monotonous. But with just a little bit of intention, a touch of mindfulness, they can be painted with all sorts of tiny splashes of color, of joy. The power to transform them, it's entirely within you. And it starts by letting go of the idea that happiness is always somewhere else, sometime later. It's here, it's now, just waiting to be found in the rhythm of your daily life. The power of intention, priming your mind for joy. So if slowing down is like creating the space for joy, then setting an intention is like flipping the light switch so you can actually see it. Our brains are pretty amazing, and they have this knack for finding whatever they're looking for. If we're constantly on the lookout for problems, stressors, and things that annoy us, guess what? We'll find an endless supply of. Exactly. But if we consciously decide to look for moments of joy, appreciation, or peace, our minds will start to pick up on them much more easily. That's really what setting an intention to notice joy is all about. Imagine two people. Let's call them Alex and Ben. They have almost identical morning routines. Both wake up, make coffee, get ready for work, and head out. Alex is on total autopilot. The alarm clock is public enemy number one. Coffee is just fuel, chugged down in a hurry. Getting ready is a frantic race against time. The commute, pure frustration. Alex's mind is already at the office, stressing about the day's tasks, replaying yesterday's little annoyances, or worrying about what might go wrong later. That whole morning routine is just something to get through. Ben, though, decides to start the day with a simple intention today. I'm going to look for one small moment of joy in my routine. When the alarm goes off, Ben takes a second to stretch and breathe, maybe even appreciating the warmth of the bed before getting up. Making coffee becomes a small ritual, enjoying the smell of the beans, the warmth of the mug. While getting ready, perhaps Ben notices the sunlight pouring through the window or puts on an uplifting song. During the commute, instead of fuming in traffic, Ben might listen to an interesting podcast or just watch the world go by with a bit of curiosity. Ben isn't pretending that stressors don't exist, but is actively choosing to also look for the good stuff. Now, who do you think is more likely to stumble upon little moments of happiness during that morning routine? It's pretty obvious, right? Ben has basically primed their mind for joy. It's not about putting on rose-colored glasses and pretending everything's perfect. It's about deliberately shifting your focus to include the good. It's about actively searching for what one author calls glimmers. Those tiny micro moments that bring a little sense of peace or happiness. Setting a daily intention doesn't have to be some big, complicated, time-sucking thing. It can be as simple as taking a few quiet moments when you first wake up, before you even think about grabbing your phone. Before all the day's demands come rushing in, just pause. Then ask yourself, what kind of joy do I want to notice or maybe even create today? Perhaps it's the joy of connection, so you decide to have a really present conversation with someone. Maybe it's the joy of just enjoying your senses, so you plan to truly savor your lunch. Or maybe it's simply the joy of peace, so you intend to find a few quiet moments, even if things get hectic. There was even a study showing that just 10 minutes of daily mindfulness can significantly lessen symptoms of depression and anxiety and boost overall well-being. You can write your intention down, say it out loud, or just hold it in your mind. The main thing is to make it a conscious choice. This whole practice is tied very closely to mindfulness, that art of paying attention to right now without judging it. When you set an intention for joy, you're basically telling your brain, hey, keep an eye out for this today. You're programming your internal radar to pick up on those positive signals that you might totally miss if you're just running on autopilot. Think of it like tuning an old radio. If your radio is stuck on a station full of static and negativity, that's all you're going to hear. But if you consciously fiddle with the dial, you can find a station playing beautiful music. Setting an intention for joy is like fine-tuning your internal radio to the frequency of happiness. It doesn't mean the static just vanishes, but it sure does mean you're much more likely to hear the music. And over time, this simple practice can completely change how you experience your days, turning them from a list of chores into a beautiful tapestry woven with small, meaningful moments of joy, transforming mundane moments, practical joy infusions. Alright, so we've chatted about why it's so important to slow down and set those intentions. Now, let's get super practical. How do we actually take these ideas and sprinkle them into the everyday nitty-gritty of our routines? The really cool part is you don't need to cram a bunch of new stuff into your already jam-packed schedule. It's all about transforming what you already do. Think of this section as your personal toolkit, filled with ideas to sneak more joy into those everyday moments, all backed by a heap of well-being research. Let's kick things off with a morning routine makeover. For a lot of us, mornings are just a mad dash. But what if they could be a gentle, intentional way to ease into your day? Savor your sips. That first cup of coffee or tea, don't just knock it back while scrolling through your phone. Really savor it. Notice the smell before you even take a sip. Feel the warmth of the mug in your hands. Actually taste the flavor as it hits your palate. This simple act of slowing down and engaging your senses can be a wonderfully grounding and pleasurable little moment. It's like a mini meditation in a mug. Gratitude ignition. While your coffee's brewing, or as you sit down to drink it, take just 2 minutes for a gratitude check-in. This could be mentally listing 3 things you're thankful for, big or small. Maybe it's the comfy bed you just rolled out of, the sunshine, a supportive friend, or even just the fact that you have coffee to enjoy. A 2023 study from UC Berkeley actually found that writing down 3 things you're grateful for daily can boost well-being by 25% in just 6 weeks. Gratitude really does shift your brain's focus from what's missing to what's plentiful. Joyful surroundings create a little pocket of pleasure in your morning space. Light a favorite scented candle while you get ready. Put on music that genuinely lifts you up or makes you want to do a little shuffle. Even having a small plant or a piece of art you love in your bathroom or kitchen can give your mood a subtle boost. These small sensory treats can make a surprisingly big difference. Next up, let's tackle commute or transitions reimagined. Whether you drive, hop on public transport, or work from home and your commute is from the bedroom to your desk, these in-between moments are often just dead time, or worse, stress time. Mindful observation, instead of zoning out or getting lost in a worry spiral, try engaging your senses. If you're driving or on a train, really notice the world outside. What colors do you see? Are there interesting people, buildings, or bits of nature? If you're walking, feel your feet on the pavement, the air on your skin. This isn't about intense concentration, just a gentle, curious awareness. It really helps you stay present. Uplifting inputs, use your commute as a chance for some positive mental food. Listen to an inspiring podcast, an engaging audiobook, or music that genuinely makes you happy. This is a great way to limit the negative stuff and consciously choose content that elevates your mood. Now for those workday wellness breaks, even on the busiest of days, there are moments where you can inject a little joy and hit the reset button. Micro-mindful breaks. You don't need an hour for meditation. Try taking 1 to 3 minute mindful pauses throughout your day. Close your eyes and take 5 deep breaths. Do a quick body scan, noticing any tension, and consciously letting it go. Even just looking away from your screen and gazing out a window for a minute can be incredibly restorative. Research shows that even short daily mindfulness practices offer real benefits. Move your body. Sitting for ages can really drain your energy and mood. Weave in small bursts of movement. Stand up and stretch every hour. Walk around during a phone call. Do a few simple yoga poses. Physical activity releases endorphins, which are nature's mood boosters. Did you know that even 10 minutes of physical activity a week has been linked to increased happiness? Now let's create some evening wind-down rituals. How you end your day can seriously impact your sleep and your overall sense of peace. Reflect and record joy. Before bed, take 5 minutes to think about any joyful moments from your day, no matter how tiny. You could keep a joy journal or a glimmer list and jot them down. This helps reinforce those positive experiences and trains your brain to look for more of them. Some people love a joy jar, writing down happy moments and then reading them at the end of the week or year. Connect consciously. If you live with others, dedicate a few minutes to truly connect. This could be a hug, sharing a laugh, or just a brief present conversation about your days, phones down. Strong social connections are so crucial for happiness. Create calm, dim the lights, play some calming music, read an actual physical book instead of scrolling on your phone. Create an environment that signals to your body and mind that it's time to relax and get ready for some good restful sleep. Good sleep habits are vital for keeping your mood on an even keel. Let's think about Sarah, for example. Her commute used to be the absolute worst part of her day. She'd get to work already feeling frazzled. Then, she started leaving just 10 minutes earlier and putting on a comedy podcast. Suddenly, those 30 minutes stuck in traffic became a time she actually looked forward to. A chance to laugh and lighten her mood before the workday even started. Or take Mark, who used to feel totally overwhelmed by chores. He started pairing his weekend cleaning spree with his favorite upbeat playlist, turning a dreaded task into an impromptu dance party. He still had to clean, obviously, but the experience was completely different. These ideas aren't about adding more to your routines, they're about shifting how you experience them. Each of these suggestions is really an invitation to experiment. Not everything will click with everyone, and that's okay. Pick one or two ideas that sound appealing and give them a try for a week. See how they make you feel. The goal is to find small, doable ways to weave moments of presence, gratitude, pleasure into the existing rhythm of your life, transforming the mundane into the meaningful, one small joy at a time. Overcoming joy blockers, cultivating resilience. Now, as you start on this journey of intentionally finding more joy in your daily routines, it's really important to be honest. It won't always be a walk in the park. There will be days when you just don't feel like it, when that little voice of skepticism creeps in, or when outside stress makes it feel impossible to find even a tiny glimmer of positivity. It's perfectly normal. Cultivating joy isn't about reaching some state of nonstop bliss. It's about building resilience and developing tools to ride life's inevitable ups and downs with a bit more presence and appreciation. One common internal blocker is that cynical voice in our heads. "This is silly," it might whisper. "How can savoring my coffee make any difference when I have real problems?" And that's a fair question. These small practices aren't meant to magically make your difficulties disappear, but they can change your ability to handle them. Think of it this way. If your emotional fuel tank is always hovering near empty, any tiny bump in the road will feel like a massive crisis. But if you're regularly topping up that tank with small moments of joy, gratitude, and presence, you'll have more emotional reserves to draw on when challenges do pop up. These practices build up your baseline of well-being. Another hurdle can simply be the power of habit. We've spent years, maybe even decades, rushing through our routines on autopilot, shifting those deeply ingrained patterns. It takes conscious effort and repetition. Oh yes. There will be days you completely forget your intention, or you find yourself gulping down your lunch while mindlessly scrolling again. Please, don't beat yourself up about it. Just notice and gently guide yourself back. Every single moment is a fresh chance to begin again. We're aiming for progress here, not perfection. So, what can help us navigate these blockers and build up that resilience? The power of small acts of kindness. Research consistently shows that doing something nice for others can give our own happiness a significant boost. This doesn't have to be some grand heroic act. It could be as simple as offering a genuine compliment to a coworker, letting someone go ahead of you in line, sending an encouraging text to a friend, or even just offering a warm smile to a stranger. These small acts shift your focus outward, build connection, and create a positive ripple effect for both you and the person on the receiving end. Curate your inputs, limit the negative. We're swimming in information these days, and honestly, not all of it is good for our well-being. Be mindful of what you're consuming. If the news constantly leaves you feeling anxious or angry, it's okay to limit your exposure. If certain social media accounts make you feel crummy or inadequate, hit that unfollow button. This isn't about burying your head in the sand. It's about consciously choosing to protect your mental and emotional space. Make an effort to seek out uplifting content, inspiring books, positive news stories, podcasts that make you think or laugh. Embrace the healing power of nature. Spending time in nature is such a potent antidote to stress and a powerful way to spark joy. Even small doses can make a difference. If you can, take a short walk in a park during your lunch break. Bring a plant into your workspace. Sit by a window and just notice the sky. There's a whole movement around biophilia, which highlights our innate craving for nature, and it's growing for a good reason. Connecting with the natural world is deeply restorative for our minds and bodies. A 2024 study in Nature even found that just 20 minutes in green spaces can lower cortisol levels by 15%. Acknowledge and process. Don't suppress. This journey isn't about slapping a fake smile over genuine difficulties. If you're having a tough day, acknowledge it. Allow yourself to actually feel your emotions. Trying to push down negativity often just makes it stronger. Mindfulness involves acknowledging all experiences, the pleasant and the unpleasant, without judgment. The key is not to get stuck in the negative, but to allow it to move through you, maybe by journaling, talking to a friend, or doing some physical activity that helps you release tension. It's a practice, not a destination. Remember? Finding joy in daily routines is an ongoing practice, kind of like learning a musical instrument or a new language. There will be days when you hit all the right notes. In days when you feel clumsy and totally out of tune, the important thing is to keep practicing, to keep showing up with curiosity and a healthy dose of self-compassion. Each small effort reinforces new pathways in your brain, making it easier and more natural over time to find those moments of joy. Cultivating resilience is really about understanding that while you can't always control what happens around you, you can cultivate your inner response. By intentionally weaving in these strategies, by being kind to yourself during the process, and by remembering that even the smallest shift in perspective can open up a whole new way of experiencing your day, you gradually build a stronger, more joyful foundation. One routine, one moment at a time. So, we've explored a lot today, haven't we? The big takeaway is that finding happiness isn't about waiting for some perfect, far-off future. It's about unlocking the joy that's already hiding in your everyday routines. It's about slowing down, being intentional, and savoring those small wonders that so often fly under the radar. Now I'm really curious after hearing all of this. What's one small joy you're going to intentionally look for or create in your routine tomorrow? It could be anything at all. Savoring your tea, noticing something cool in nature on your commute, or truly listening to a loved one. Pop your intention in the comments below. I'd absolutely love to read them, and who knows, it might just inspire someone else too. If this message resonated with you, and you're ready to keep transforming your daily life into a source of consistent happiness, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. We'll be diving deeper into topics like mindfulness, gratitude, and building even more joyful habits. And finally, if you found this guide helpful, please think about sharing it with a friend, family member, or colleague who you think might benefit from finding a little more joy in their day. Sometimes a simple shift in how we see things is all it takes. We've definitely covered a lot of ground. From figuring out why we so often miss the joy in our daily lives, to finding practical, real-world ways to infuse our routines with more presence and pleasure, the core message is simple, but it's also pretty profound. Your daily grind does not have to be a source of stress. It can, with a bit of intention and practice, become a wellspring of consistent happiness. Imagine starting your day not with that familiar sense of dread, but with a quiet kind of excitement. For the small moments of peace or pleasure you know you'll find. Picture yourself moving through your tasks with a greater sense of calm and focus, able to actually appreciate the journey, not just obsess about the destination. Envision ending your day with a feeling of gentle contentment, reflecting on the glimmers of joy you collected, rather than just the to-dos you ticked off. This kind of transformation isn't some pie-in-the-sky dream. It's a real, tangible possibility, and it's available to you right now. It's all about recognizing that happiness isn't always found in those big, headline-grabbing events. More often, it's in the subtle, quiet whispers of everyday life, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the taste of your favorite food savored slowly, a genuine laugh shared with a friend, the satisfaction of completing a small task with mindful attention. These are the microjoys that, when you string them together, create this rich, beautiful tapestry of a life well lived. This journey of finding happiness in your routines is an act of profound self-care and empowerment. It's about reclaiming your days, your moments, from the grip of autopilot and stress. It does require patience. It definitely requires kindness towards yourself, and above all, it requires believing that joy isn't a luxury, but your birthright, accessible right here, right now. So I really encourage you, take these ideas, experiment with them, tweak them to fit your own life. Start small, be curious. Just watch as your everyday routines begin to transform from something that drains you into a consistent, reliable, and deeply personal guide to joyful living. The power to find happiness now is and always has been within you. Go unlock it.